Hey everybody, Steve Winfield here with Trustifi. I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes or so giving you a real quick demo of the Trustifi product. Hopefully you know by this point that Trustifi is one of the greatest email security solutions out there today. Uh, Very robust, very comprehensive, but more importantly, very easy for the end user to use, very easy for the recipient to receive an email, and very easy for the IT staff to implement and keep it up and running. It's absolutely an amazing product. Works great with Office 365, with Exchange on-prem, Exchange in the cloud, as well as Gmail. Works on Macs, works on PCs. A great all-around product. But let's go ahead and get going, and I'll let you see for yourself how awesome this solution is. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here into Outlook. You can use Outlook, you can use Outlook Web Access, or for Chrome, for Gmail, you can use Chrome, of course. But let me show you what goes on. So I'm going to open up an email, and you see the nice little plugin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I'm just going to send a test email to my to a test account. All right, and I'm going to send some stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how easy it is to encrypt this email. This email has some things in it that I just want to make sure securely gets from my server to their server. So all I do is I type in my message, I open up the plugin, and I hit encrypt message, and I hit apply. And as easy as that, I'm able to send off an encrypted email. Boom, that's simple. Now that's pretty cool, and that is pretty easy, but you know what? Encrypted email is great, but everyone's got encrypted email. What if I'm wanting to send something though that I want to have, more than encryption? I know you might be thinking, well, what could be more than encryption? Well, let's think real quickly about what encryption is. Encryption is making sure that it securely gets from my server to your server without there being any sort of, bad actors, getting in the middle, but it doesn't make sure that the recipient I'm intending it to get to is the only person who's reading it. So in this case, I'm wanting some secrets, and the only person I want to read the secrets, see the secrets, is the exact person I'm sending it to. So what I'm able to do with Trustifi, and I can't do with most of the other solutions, is I can enforce multi-factor authentication on the recipient, even though the recipient does not have a license with Trustifi, even though they're not affiliated with us in any shape, form, or fashion. They're just some person that's out there. So what should I do? I simply click encrypt. I'm going to require authentication. I hit apply, and as easy as that, I can send it off. Now, before I send it off, I want to show you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, because behind the scenes, we can see, we can show advanced. We actually have 3 different ways that we can do authentication. First off, if I had their phone number in my contacts, I could utilize phone. They would receive an email. It would ask them to verify their phone number. If they verify their phone number and it matches what we have, then they would receive a text message with a PIN to get them into the authenticated email. I could also do a secondary email. So in other words, in this case, they receive the first email. They're asked to verify their email address. They type in their email address again, and at that point, they'll receive a second email that's got the PIN to get into the first one. I know some of you might be thinking, well, Steve, that's not very secure, because what if the bad guy has, control of the inbox? Well, you're right. If the bad guy has control of the inbox, then the bad guy is going to see both emails. However, this does prevent automated attacks, and it also helps prevent against some of the network attacks that are out there. The other way of doing things is password, and I really like to think of this not so much as password, but as shared secret. This is just something that I know and the recipient knows, and hopefully no one else does. Like in this instance, it could be last four of account number, but it could also be, I could type in here for the hint, favorite football team, maybe city we both grew up in, where did we first meet, who introduced us, a company we both worked for. Could be whatever we want it to be, as long as both people know the answer. And if there's multiple people on the thread, if there's 3 or 4 or 5 people on the thread, it does have to be an answer that those 3 or 4 or 5 people know. But anyway, you get the idea. But that's all you need. You have 3 choices. Now, as long as I'm here, though, let me go and show you a couple other things. remember I said at the beginning that the beauty of Trustifi is how easy it is to use. The end users don't have to, go to school to learn it. They don't have to, be rocket scientists or even computer scientists. Basically, they just have to know how to do toggle switches. So, as an end user without any technical experience, I could come into the app, open up Advanced, and I have control over things. I can say, "Hey, I want this email to expire in 20 days." Maybe I don't want the email to expire, but I do want the attachments to expire in 10 days. I don't want you to be able to print this, however. I could go through and I can say, yes, I do want to be notified about every email, every time the email gets opened. I could actually even change the reply to. Maybe I'm sending out an email to a bunch of my clients telling them about the new, support process we have. I could actually have the reply instead of come back to me, could go back to, support at whatever. So that's pretty cool. Very easy. I can even track the links. If they click on a link that I sent them, I can track whether or not they open the link. So very cool, very easy, very simple for the end user. But I'm not worried about any of that. The only thing I was worried about is this up here at the top, talking about the multi-factor authentication. So I'm going to send those secrets, and I'm going to send. Now let's take a look. Now this is where the magic begins. All right, let's look and see what this looks like from the recipient's standpoint. So I'm going to go into my Gmail inbox, and here's stuff, that first email that I received. So I'm going to go to open it up. And you see that it's got, the Trustifi logo, it's got our big blue button in the middle. All of this is brandable. You can change it to your logo, your wording, your colors, whatever you want it to be is fine by us. But the beauty of this is not, the looks and the colors. The beauty is this next step. Check this out. I click the button, the magic button. And when I click the magic button, it takes me to the secure portal and it shows me my stuff. I didn't have to go somewhere and register my email address. I didn't have to create a username and password. I didn't have to give my blood type or my firstborn child. I didn't have to do anything except for click the button. This is all about making it easy for everybody along the path. And what's cool is now that I've received this message, I actually have the ability to reply to the message and add encrypted attachments if I want to. I can add up to 1 GB in size attachment, and life is good. Let me see. Trustifi is awesome, and I can hit send, and it'll go back to my account. Pretty cool though, huh? Nice and simple. If you have older clients, older customers, non-technical people, they love this because they can just get the message. They get the stuff that they need. Now let's take a look at that second email that was sent. The second email that we sent was the one with secrets. This is one that had multi-factor authentication. So let's go ahead and this looks mostly the same, except here it says, click this to authenticate to decrypt an open message. The last time it just said decrypt an open message. So let's click that, and we have the authentication, and it's going to pop up. Now it's not going to show me anything until I type in the password here. And remember, there's that hint, the one that we could have changed to, anything, the city we grew up in, favorite beer, favorite football team, whatever, as long as it's something we both know. But last four of account number, I can look that up. And I'm going to type in, I'm just going to type in 3. I'm going to type in 123. So I type in 123, I hit decrypt. Oh, we have a problem. 2 attempts remaining. All right, so let's type it in correctly this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit decrypt. And now we're able to get in and see the secrets. That's very simple, very easy. We just made sure that not only was it encrypted, which makes it get from my server to your server safely, we then required authentication, which made sure that only the right person was reading the email and not some bad actor who had taken it over. Now, all of that is cool and I love all of that, but this is where the Ginsu knife part of the commercial starts because there's more. All right, check this out. I sent you the secrets and I know you read them and everything, but those weren't the secrets I meant for you to read. So I can actually come into, I can come in here to sent items. When I come into sent items, I can open up the plugin. When I open up the plugin, it's going to give me the ability to block recipient. So now, as soon as I hit block recipient, check out what happens here. This isn't like Microsoft where you hit the recall button and most likely nothing happens. As soon as I click block recipient, boom, the email is no longer available. They're no longer able to see the email. That's just cool. And if I have multiple people on the thread, so let's say I would have a little drop down, and I could actually choose individuals that I want to be blocked. I don't have to, with other solutions, it's a binary option. Either everybody's blocked or nobody's blocked. With us, I can actually choose the individual that I want to be blocked, and boom, they're blocked. Now, in this case, this gets cool right here, so pay attention. In this case, it's not that I didn't want them to get the secrets, I just sent them the wrong secrets. And so what I can do is I can click update message. So check this out. Even though the message has already been sent, it's already been read, it's been blocked, unblocked, I have the ability to change the email and send even better secrets with 3 exclamation points. That's how much better they are. Now I can click update. Now watch what happens when I come over here. I already unblocked them, and now when they go to look at their email next time, they see the even better secrets. That's just cool. The fact that you can change an email after you've sent it is awesome. Think about a use case. You have a customer that you're working with. You send them a quote. You say, hey, use this quote for budgeting at the end of the month. And then the next week you realize you left off the discount, or the prices have changed, or you forgot to add services, whatever it happens to be. You send them a second email saying, hey, don't use that first one, use this one. Well, the problem is you've sent them 2 emails now, both of them saying, use this for your budgeting process. You've lost control of the narrative. You don't know for sure which one of them is going to get used. With our solution, there's only one source of truth. It's the one that's here. And you do notice it tells you that it was edited at a certain time, certain date. So that way you're not just feeling like you're going crazy. Plus, for regulatory compliance purposes, we have to keep up with all the emails anyway, behind the scenes. But that's pretty darn cool. But it actually continues to get better, because even though I've already sent the email, even though it's already been out there, look at what's happening behind the scenes. First off, everything is being tracked. I know when it was sent, when it was delivered, when it was opened. There's that authentication failure. Let's say that it fails and the person calls up and says, Steve, this is a stupid system. I typed in the password, I didn't get in. Did you type it in correctly, sir? Yes, I did. Well, I can actually click authentication failed and I can see what they typed in. They typed in 123. We were expecting to see 1234. Sir, do me a favor and retype it. Just go very slowly this time. 1234. So in other words, I'm able to troubleshoot an access issue without having to get IT involved. End users, non-technical end users, can help their users get in and get to the email. The other thing that's important to note is we're able to track the general vicinity that the person resides. For example, here I'm seeing, I am in Las Vegas, and that's where this says I am, and I am using a Windows 10 machine. I am using Chrome. I don't know if I'm using those versions, but I don't doubt for a second that I am. But the key thing here is all of this data is we can put it all into a file, into a PDF type of documentation that would then be admissible in a court of law. Just like you were sending a registered letter, from the U.S. Post Office, you can send a registered email via Trustifi, and that's pretty cool. And if that's not enough, I still have some control. I can change the password, I can change expiration, I can change printing, I can change, all sorts of stuff, notification, I can change all sorts of things. So even though the email's been sent and opened and blocked and unblocked and updated and all this stuff, I can still have some control over it. That's just cool, because having control of your own data, your own information, that's hugely important in today's world. Now, everything I've shown you so far, though, is relying on the end user to open up the tab. But what if they don't? Well, let's take a look. All right, so I'm going to send 2 more quick emails to myself. And the first one I'm going to send, I'm going to say, hey, lunch is on me. Not literally, that would be gross. But I'm going to send them an email saying, hey, appreciate all the effort. Let's go do lunch. And I hit send. Now, I realized a little bit later while I'm sitting watching my daughter's cheerleading practice that I can't be there tomorrow. She's got a doctor's appointment midday. So instead of just canceling, telling them, hey, no lunch tomorrow, I'm going to let them know they can still do lunch, but I'm going to pay for it. Let me see, on me. And I'm going to give them a credit card number. I thought I'd already given it to them, but I didn't. So there's my credit card. I'm using my phone, I'm using my tablet, whatever. I'm out of the field. I'm not really paying attention, and I hit send. Whoops. I guess I actually better send it to somebody. That tends to make it easier. All right, so now I'm sending it to somebody. Boom, it's out the door. Now, here's what is interesting. The first email that came through. So that last email that I sent with that credit card information, that may have just violated corporate guidelines because that we don't allow that. That was a corporate credit card. Maybe I violated some other guidelines, PCI, HIPAA, who knows? Maybe I was responding to a very long email thread and didn't realize there was all sorts of privacy information at the bottom, and that should never have been sent out unencrypted. But here's what happened. So first one we received. Whoops. First one we received is lunch is on me. All right, this was clear text, no problem. Hey, let's have lunch delivered by Uncle Julio's tomorrow. And then we received the second email, which for some reason came through backwards. And even though I sent it the same way as the first one, I sent it without opening up the plugin, without doing anything, the system caught that it had a credit card and it applied the appropriate policy, which made it be encrypted. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, everything I've shown you is showing you how easy it is for the end user to use it, to send off secure email, to keep control of it. I've shown you how the recipient's been able to receive it and how easy it is for them to receive or send back an email up to 1 gigabyte in size. I've shown you all that good stuff, but let's talk about how easy it is for IT. So I'm going to come in. This is the portal, not the partner portal. This is the portal, and I'm going to go ahead and log in. So for us, if you're wanting to do those automated rules, you're wanting to use data loss prevention. You don't have to know how to script. You don't have to know how to PowerShell. All you have to know how to do is create an if-then statement. So I come here, I go to rules and policies, and once I'm in rules and policies, I simply create a new rule, and with this new rule, I'll give it a name, I'll call it appropriately name, and I can choose. I can say, hey, if, let's say I want to do compliance score, I want to do a compliance thing. So if the compliance needed is CCPA, then I want you to encrypt the message. Now, let's say on the other hand that maybe I don't want it to be just that. What if I want to do a little bit more? I want to get a little bit more granular. So what I'm going to say is if the compliance is the CCPA and the sensitivity score, by the way, we look at every email, we look at all the data types, and we'll give it a score between 0 and 5 in 0.1 increments. So really it's 0 and 50. And we'd say, hey, if it's 4 or above, so 40 or above, then that's a pretty sensitive document. And so what I'm going to say here is if the compliance is CCPA and the sensitivity score in the body is equal to 4, then you know what? We're not just going to encrypt a message. We're going to require authentication. We're going to send a BCC to the DPO's office. And yeah, we'll let it go at that point. All right, very cool, very easy. And I can even let the sender know because this is DLP, which means the sender didn't do anything, but it got hit by this rule. So I can say, hey, notify sender that they had a problem, and I'm going to leave them a note. Dude, what are you doing? Misspelled you, that's pretty bad. What are you doing? All right, so very easy, and I just hit add and boom, I'm in. So let's look at some of the things that you can do with the if statements. The if statements, sensitivity score, keywords, domains, custom header value. So some easy stuff that you can do there. And then what are the results that you can have happen? Whoops, it's the same thing. Sorry about that. one more down. You can encrypt a message, require that multi-factor authentication. You can CC someone, BCC someone, all sorts of things. You can postmark. That's where you're doing the legal proof aspect of it. All sorts of good things that you can do. Now, so far, what I've shown you, though, has been all the outbound protection. So let's talk about the inbound protection because we're really good at that also. So what inbound protection is getting at is this is these are all the antis, and we do all the antis, by the way. So we do the anti-malware, we do the anti-spam, anti-phishing, anti-spear phishing, anti-homoglyph attacks, anti-spoofing, anti. If there's an anti out there, boom, we do it. And then on top of that, we have dynamic URL protection. So in other words, every time we look at an email address, every time an email gets opened up, we're going to check it and we're going to make sure that it is that URL is still safe. And on top of that, we'll do the same thing with attachments. Every time we open it, we'll make sure the attachments haven't been time bombed in some way. Now, that's all fine and dandy. So we're going to catch, we're going to try to catch all sorts of things. Here's what it looks like. If you're not using our email gateway, which remember doesn't cost anything, you just have to have somebody on staff or somebody that, to pay a few bucks for them to get it set up for you. Now, here's where we come in. So here's a message that comes in. This is without the email relay. This is from my boss's boss, our CRO. It just looks kind of funny that he's asking me this question when he can get into Salesforce and look it up himself. So I'm a little bit suspicious. So I open up the Trustifi logo, and Trustifi is going to analyze it and let me know that, hey, this is malicious. And I can go and look and see what was malicious with it. Well, DKM, SPIV, DMARC, ARC, comp off, all had problems. And so it flows up enough of a red flag that it's considered a malicious email. Okay. Now, you could set it up also, though, where if the recipient receives an email that's spam or malicious or whatever, they could get a warning message. Hey, we think there's a problem with this email. I wouldn't click on it if I were you. Now, of course, they still could, but at least you've warned them. Now, you could also just block them completely. Let me see. Yep, here we go. This is the one. So an email's been received. It's got malicious content. It's been blocked, so they don't even get a chance to do anything except go and talk to the IT staff about getting it released. On top of that, we do the anti-spam aspect, self-service anti-spam I was telling you about. Let's come up here. Spam is detected, and I click here. Whoops, I'm not agreeing to the spam. I want to review the email. Click there. And so now I come in and I get to review the email and unblock it. Now, unfortunately, I accidentally, the last demo, hit the unblock button. There's actually a third button up here that says, unblock, and it'll go to you. But I could say, hey, I want to trust the links. I want to whitelist, so that way it never gets into the spam folder again. But the end user is able to take care of a lot of their own stuff, and that's pretty darn nice. And then last but not least on this is we do a thing around policy. And so we'll actually, so here's an example. I get a message that my email has been opened up by a new iOS device. Well, I didn't have a new iOS device, but I was using my wife's. And so because I wasn't using my normal phone, the system flagged it and said, hey, there could be something fishy here, and let the tech team know as well as let me know. And I was able to say, no, everything's okay, so everything's good. But yeah, that in a nutshell is what we do. There's a whole bunch of little things that we could talk about, but I think you get the gist of it. It's a great product. It's moderately priced. You'll find it budget friendly most likely, and we can get you up and running with just a plug-in in about 5 minutes, maybe 10. And with the data connector, with the email connector, it will take us a little bit longer. It could take us up to 30 minutes. And if you have a pretty complex environment, it may be 4 hours. But the beauty of it is that it's only taking you, 15 minutes to 4 hours, and that's it to get up and running. None of our competitors are going to get you up that fast. Anyway, that's what I have. That's the quick little demo for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we can talk more later. Getting a personalized demo is even better.